also his number for a few years.
Yeah.
So he's here tonight to introduce himself, tell you what he does, and help you with hips and shoulders specifically.
Yeah.
So, take it away.
All right. Yeah, so I'm Dr. Jake with Flexible Physical Therapy. I'm the owner, private company in Grace Lake. So what we're going to do today, usually when I do these workshops, I do a lot of them. We usually specifically do one body part. We're doing two today, so we're going to try to cram it all in. And because of that, we're going to be kind of loosey-goosey with our structure, okay, so bear with me. What we're going to do to start is we're just going to kind of go around the room and just give me your name real briefly. And if you want to talk about an injury, you can. If it is a hip or shoulder, that's fine. If you don't, totally cool, that's okay. But just tell me something that you want to know or get out of today in general. If it's just you want to be, get more knowledge about something, that's fine too. So let's just let's start over here. I'm looking this way, I'm sorry. We'll start in the front where we'll just kind of fishtail that way around. So.
My name is Krista. I was interested in coming here really just to get some general information. I feel like the older I get, the tighter I get, especially in the hips.
Yeah.
I have torn my rotator cuff in the past, so I'm kind of sensitive about protecting that area. I know I was doing the stretches and stuff, but yeah.
Okay, very good.
Excuse me, I'm Heather. I am here because I just recently had an MRI and found that I have a torn labrum. And it's not super bad, but it annoys me.
Got it.
And mostly at night sleeping.
Okay.
And so I want to learn how to, I'm going to have to live with it. So what do I do to be as pain free as I can?
For sure.
Stretches and things?
Yeah, great. Okay, all right.
My name's Karen. My story is the same as Krista's, really. I have an old shoulder injury and I kind of guarded it. As I get older, I feel like my hands are getting tighter.
Okay. So tight hips, shoulder, past shoulder stuff. Okay. Go ahead.
My name is Melissa, and I have chronic tightness in one hip flexor. That flares up now and again, so I need to work with it probably forever.
Okay. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Hopefully it works today.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
My name is Liz Bay, similar to Marielle's, more like a frozen shoulder, tight hip.
Okay, perfect. All right.
Hello, Larry.
Larry.
No problems yet, so that's why I'm here.
Yes.
So I'd like to see you.
Yeah.
I'm Lori, that's my husband.
Okay.
I've been driving here. I too just had an MRI. I too have a torn labrum.
Wow, 2 laborers. Okay.
Tear on the hamstring. Some box turning physical therapy tomorrow right over here.
Okay.
And I have my shoulders too. Just staying like that.
Okay, all right.
I'm Julie. As I get older, I'm finding I have a lot of hip tightness and seems to be like with a little tendon pain across the back of both hips.
Okay.
And it's raises a lot, so trying to make sure that stays loose as much as possible.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
I'm also Julie.
Yeah.
I get just really tight my right hip flexor
Okay.
most of the time, and then shoulders, but mainly neck.
Mainly neck. Okay. Great. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm Michelle, and my hips, as a runner, my hips are always tight, flexors, and then just recently tweaked my shoulder, and I'm like tendonitis and rotator cuff, I don't know, and
Okay.
kind of just things to do with.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi everybody, I'm Karen, and I've been training in jiu-jitsu for about 7 years, and that is a sport that I love, but it's really rough on the shoulders especially, and then I'm dealing with 2 shoulders that are not happy with me. It always has me hips, and so I want to go from this to this.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Thank you for sharing.
Hi, I'm Amy Mocker. I have partial tear in my rotator cuff, and my hips just hurt all the time. So, just trying to avoid surgery and
Yeah.
kind of keep myself fit.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I'm Debbie, and I have all kinds of issues. The biggest one is like my hips tend to get really tight, and then pulls on the discs in my back. So I've herniated discs a couple times and come back with PT. And then I have volleyball player
Yeah, great. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it, especially the personal information, personal stories. You didn't have to do that, and I really appreciate that. So, common consensus, it sounds like, in terms of hips, we're going to start with hips and then go to shoulders. I do work the entire body, but shoulders is kind of my specialty, if you will. So, but we're going to start with hips. It sounds like hips are just general mobility, tightness. If you do, it seems like it's either usually in the front, the hip flexor, maybe glutes. We have a little bit of that. Tendinopathy back here. We have a little bit of back pain. It sounds like. Anybody else have like back pain? If you want to raise your hand, or have had back pain. Sciatica, nerve stuff. Yeah, wow, quite a few hands. Okay, all right, cool. So what we're gonna do today then is we're gonna do basically a self-assessment. So I'm gonna do some education sprinkled in with you guys moving. So you're gonna be either on the ground here on the mats, or you're gonna be standing up. And first we're gonna just start with a mobility screen. So I'm gonna have everybody stand. Just make sure you have enough, space to basically you're gonna just do a side lunge at some point. So just make sure you have enough room laterally that way. But let's just start. Okay, when you're doing these movements, I want you guys to just pay attention to what do you feel. Does it feel painful? Does it feel tight? Restricted? And then where, if you have pain, where is it? Okay, keep an eye on that, because as we go along, you're going to use the mobility drills that we give you to target that. Okay, so first thing you're going to do, let's just go ahead and just start by bending over, touching our toes, and then you can just stand up and then just kind of go and do the same thing over again. Do it like 3 or 4 times. Got some pretty good flexibility in here. All right, that's good. Any, tightness in the back of the legs, any, electric feeling, shocky, or very sharp? No? Okay, sweet, great. Okay, squat is the next one. So just doing just a body weight squat. You can put your hands wherever you'd like with this one. Feet shoulder width apart. Just go ahead and do a squat. Do you guys feel any pinchiness when you squat? Yes, I see a couple nods. Okay, all right, okay. And then you're gonna do a side lunge for me. Okay, any pinchiness here? Yes, yes. Okay, all right, very good. Okay, now, so let me just talk about the pinchiness before we get into some other tests, okay? So pinchiness, in terms of diagnosis for the hip, there's a lot of things. We've had some labral tears and different stuff. What does labral tear mean? What is labrum? So just like the shoulder, they're basically pretty similar. It's a ball attached to, a bone. So the bone and then the ball here, and it sits in a cup, okay? So that ball can move 360 degrees. When it does that, it can be, it really has to be stable, otherwise it can have a lot of issues. So what is the labrum? The labrum is actually in that cup, is basically, we call it fibrocartilage. It's like a very ligamentous structure that's very strong. It's not weak, it's very strong, and it basically makes that cup deeper, okay? So it makes your hips stable. Okay, so it gives you stability. If you tore your labrum, sometimes if you stand on one leg, sometimes it can feel a little wobbly, or you can get catches in there, get pinchy catches where it feels like it kind of catches and gives out on you. Okay, so that's like a labral thing. Okay, I'm gonna have everybody stand on one leg now. So pick a good leg, start. See if you could just stand and hold this with me. I know I'm like after a yoga class, but you can do this stuff. All right, and then go ahead and switch. Okay, all right, good. All right, now, what I want you to do is I want you to pay attention to this. So you're gonna do the same thing again, but I wanna see if what you can, so what I don't wanna see is I don't wanna see that hip come out that way. I want you to stack your hip up on top of the other one. So as you do that march or that lift, I want it nice and tight on that bottom leg. Okay, switch your feet, try the other one. pretty good. Good. Okay, great. All right, go down to your mats, please. So other common things, you know, that with the hips, arthritis, you hear arthritis all the time. Osteoarthritis is huge, especially as you get over age, 55, 60, 65, your arthritis goes up. But the thing is, about arthritis, actually, there's misconceptions and myths about it, that if you have arthritis, you gotta get surgery. Sometimes that's true, like if it's really bad, you might need surgery, especially if your pain is unbearable and you start losing range of motion. But in general, a lot of people have arthritis even in their 20s. You know what I mean? So if you can get on, just keep a good mobility routine, you just stay active, you can prevent a lot of other things in the future. Okay? But it doesn't mean at some point some people do need surgery. I will say that. Okay? So from this position, what we're going to do, we're going to test our internal and external rotation. So you're going to lie all the way back on your back for me. Your knees are bent. Okay? You're going to take one knee only and you're going to drop it out to the side. Okay? I want to see if your thigh can, how far out your thigh can get to the floor. So see if you can get it pretty close to the floor. Great. Okay, now straighten your other leg out for me. Good, and see if that changes anything. Now what I want you to do is take your foot and I want you to put it up against your knee. Okay? And then drop your knee down as far as you can. And I want you to use your muscles with this one and push, see if you can push those, your knee down to the floor. Okay, he's got pretty good flexibility, great. Okay, switch your leg. Good, so then, yeah, and then let that one drop down. So this is like a figure 4 stretch, or we call it a Faber in the physical therapy world. Okay, now in this position, I want you to try to take the foot that's up against your knee, so the one that's bent. I want you to now bring that up to your chest in that same position. So you're flexing it up now. You can use your arms to pull it up. So you're bringing it up and to the side. Up and to the side. There you go. Yeah. Any pinchy pain here? Yes, okay. And then relax, try your other side. And also I want to say too, with all these self-assessments, if these are painful, you do not have to do them or modify the range of motion so that it's not painful, okay? All right. See if you can drop this one down, to the floor. Okay. So just like how you test this stuff, you can treat it. So like I'm sure you guys have seen figure 4 stretches. What we're going to do today in terms of mobility is I'm going to have you you're going to sit up. So now you're going to kind of have that same position, but you're going to put your foot up onto your thigh. Okay. You're going to then bend your knee. Okay. All right. And then from there you're going to lie down. Okay. Now take your hands and grab the bent knee. Hold that to your chest with the hand that's on that side, and then take your other hand and push your knee down. So you're kind of creating a counter force. There you go. So where I see a lot of people cheat with this one is they're not pushing their knee down, they're actually just like letting it come up. Okay? Now switch your feet, try it on the other side, see if you feel anything different on that side. So what is this stretching? This is stretching the common piriformis. Everybody knows piriformis syndrome. Like that's a pretty common thing that most people know. Okay, go ahead and just switch and go ahead and do your other side again one more time while we're here. Very good. Right, and then the other side one more time. So I'll give you guys a little secret, okay? And I'm going to talk about this a lot with the shoulder. Okay, and you can relax. So in terms of stretching, I'm pretty sure somebody's going to ask me at some point, is stretching necessary? When should I stretch? How much should I stretch? All that stuff, right? At the end of the day, stretching can be helpful, especially like just having a mobility routine is really helpful. But I've even seen it where people are extremely flexible, their range of motion is amazing, and they still feel like they don't have good mobility. So it's not always about like your range of motion, how flexible you are. It's more about something that a lot of PTs don't talk about, and something that I do a lot with my clients. We call it muscle energy work, or MET. So it's like neuromuscular facilitation. The long word for it is PNF. You might have heard of PNF before. Proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. So it's basically your brain's ability to turn on and off muscles. Okay? Where you end up having a lot of problems is that certain areas of your body, your brain knows how to connect to really well because it uses it all the time, and other areas it doesn't. Great example is like, everybody's pretty much said tight hip flexors. Why is that? Well, our brain uses it all the time. We walk with them. When we are sitting in the car, what does that look like? Why is our right hip usually tighter than our left? We're sitting in the car, our right hip is bent up a little bit more to be on that pedal, right? We're using that all the time. We're maybe right-handed, so that's our dominant leg, so we're using this all the time, right? But what ends up happening is we're not using our glutes. So the brain connection, we have strong glutes, we just don't know how to connect to them. That's what ends up happening. So a lot of the times with my clients, we have to learn how to connect them. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna do two things. We're gonna do the PNF. We're gonna do it for your hamstrings to show you how you can get more mobility just by turning off your muscles, okay, with your brain, okay? You can get really fast results, like literally in 5 minutes or less with this, okay? So that's why stretching is always important, because you can just hack the system and you could get instant range of motion. So what you're gonna do is lay down on your back. You're gonna do a hamstring stretch. So you're gonna get your leg up in the air, right? You can put your hands on the back of your knee. And I just want you, your other leg is gonna be straight. And I just want you to try to get it as high as you can go. Right, like as far up as you can go. Your knee has to be straight. Great, okay, and then go ahead and relax. Now try the other side. And I want you to, again, feel what you feel, see what your range of motion is, keep an eye, like maybe use the ceiling to figure out where you're at. Okay, all right, good. And now relax. Okay, go back to the first leg. All right, so now from here, what you're gonna do the PNF. Now it's easier if you have someone do it on you, but you can do it yourself. Or you can use a strap, which is even easier. So, but from here, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your whole leg and try to push it against your hands. So you're keeping your knee straight the entire time, that's key. And if you can, you're gonna put your your hand kind of at your calf. So you have to keep your knee straight, if you can reach it, obviously, okay? Now you're gonna push against your hands pretty much hard, like as hard as you can, keeping it stationary though, for 5 seconds, and then relax. Relax it, let it relax, okay? So kind of bend your knee, yep, and then kick it up again. Try to go a little farther, and now push against your hands, keeping the knee straight again. And then relax it, and then go back into it. So a 3 to 5 second hold, push. I already see improvement on some of you guys. And relax, good. And I hear breathing. We didn't talk about breathing, but breathing is really important. So just like in yoga, when you breathe out and you just relax, you get more range of motion. It's the same thing here. So why? Because you're using your brain to turn off those muscles. You're using that parasympathetic nervous system to just get it all to relax, get more range. Does that make sense? Good. All right, try your other leg, considering we just did the other one. So we're gonna do 3 rounds here, so go ahead and push, 3 to 5 seconds. And relax. Just go ahead and keep doing it at your own pace. Good, relax. And then 1 more. Very good. Okay, cool. Alright, so I brought some tools just so you guys see too. So you can sit up now. Thank you. We are gonna lay on our side in a second, but I'm just gonna show you some. Stretching strap, buy them on Amazon, $15, you know. It's got loops everywhere. The benefit of them, you can, hold it like this, or you can loop it through itself. You might have seen them. But you can do this 2 ways. You can do it like this, here, or you can have it here as well. It doesn't matter. It just kind of takes away from your hands if you can't reach. It's just easier. One thing that we also did not talk about, so we did have like some nerve stuff, sciatica, stuff like that talked about a little bit. So you can play around with this if you'd like. Let's do it. It takes a second. So you're going to go back into your hamstring stretch that you just did. Now from here, I want your head down, and then I want you to put your head up. Keep your leg exactly where it is, and then put your head back down, and then lift your head. Does anybody's stretch or pain get worse or feel more intense? Yes, a couple? Okay, relax. So why is that? Why did it get worse when you put your head up? The only thing that changes when you do that is your nerve tension. Okay? You didn't change any muscle length, you only stretched the nerve a little bit. So what you can do, if you've been to PT before, you might have done nerve flossing. What you're essentially doing is stretching the nerve in one direction and then relaxing it. So just if you feel tight with that one, what you would do is you would just pump your foot up. You're gonna lift your head up, pull your toes. Now, actually, you gotta do that with me. Get your legs straight, pull your toes towards you, lift your head up now. That's gonna be the worst. Now point your foot away, and then put your head back down, and then go ahead and bend your knee. So what you're gonna notice is that, as you lift your head, it's gonna get worse. As you pull your toes towards you, it gets worse. If you point your toes away, it might get a little better, and then you put your head back down and you cycle through. So that's a nerve glide. So if you feel that when you do any of these, definitely do nerve glides. Okay? How often? Great question. Nerve stuff like this is kind of tricky. So it's hard to give you a generalized program, essentially, because nerves are if you mess with nerves, usually that's when people have 7, 8, 9 out of 10 pain. It's really high. So if you go too fast and aggressive with it, sometimes you can shoot your pain up instead of bringing it down. So usually though, the recommendation would be kind of hold it in that position for a second or two, and then you're gonna do it 10 times, 8 to 10 times, somewhere in there, and then once or twice a day to just start with. And then if you get relief, you can do it more, but you gotta definitely kind of keep an eye on with those. The other stretches and stuff that you've done, usually, once a day is sufficient if you're just, or incorporate in your warm-up, if you're doing activity, do it prior to your class. Stretching in general, so in terms of stretching, you're actually going to want to do ideally a dynamic warm-up prior to doing any sort of exercise, and then if you're going to do static stretching, static would be just holding, that's going to be after. Okay? But dynamic would be, doing lunges, different directions, touching your toes, doing, scoopers, something like that. Windmills, that's a dynamic, because dynamic means you're moving while you're stretching. Let's see. All right, so we should probably wrap that up on the hip. Any other questions for hip?
Are there things we shouldn't do?
Things you shouldn't do, great. It depends. So I would say the one thing that, it's not that you shouldn't do it, but sometimes it can cause other issues. So when you have tight hip flexors, going back to that, the brain connects to it kind of thing, if you try to stretch out a tight hip flexor, oftentimes you're just going to piss it off and make it worse. Okay? So in reality, people that come to me and they say they have hip flexor pain, usually what we end up doing is actually strengthening it. The opposite. So you would start with strengthening it in it's medium to shortened position. What do I mean by that? Is if you think of your bicep, if you put weight in your hand, it's really weak. When your arm is straight, it's nice. If I had 5 pounds, this is going to be easier when I'm at 90 degrees It's harder here and it's harder all the way when it's bent. The reason is because your muscles are stronger in the middle of their length. Okay? They're weak when they're stretched and they're weak when they're short. But they're right in the middle, they're the strongest. Okay? So whenever you start strengthening something, like the hips, hip flexors, you can do stuff like lifts. You've seen those. You put a yoga block down, go around it, a dumbbell, kettlebell, whatever, and do these. And then to make it harder, you can either lengthen it, like back here, or you can shorten it, like even more, right? So you can play around with the length of the muscle. But strengthening it would be almost, in my eyes, more important than stretching. So like all the hip flexor stretches, like these are good. Again, they're good for general mobility, but sometimes they can cause other things like knee issues, like just all the pressure around your kneecap in those positions. But I can't think of anything necessarily that you shouldn't do. If I do, I'll let you know. Other things are things that I do in my clinic. So people that have pinchy hips, I use this. A lot of other PTs, some PTs do this, most don't. I'm osteopathically trained. I guess I didn't even give an introduction of what I do and who I am. So I'm a cash PT. I'm like an out-of-network PT. I can take insurance, but I go the out-of-network route. Why do I do it that way? People get results faster with me. I can treat multiple body parts. Other PTs can't. So you get a diagnosis for shoulder. I have to see your shoulder. If you came into me with a knee issue because you're running more or something, I can't work on that. I gotta only work on the shoulder. But for me, I can treat your whole body. I treat everything. So I work with a lot of athletes. I work with Team USA Olympians. I work with older people, just for balance. CrossFitters, group fitness people that are in running, all those conditions. So, but this here, so what this is like if you had impingement or that pinchiness when you're squatting or something, a lot of times that's because those bones are running into one another a little bit. So what do? We get a little bit more joint space in there. So I would have them laying on the table. Probably put it on this leg here. And it'd be in the groin. And then this would be like this. And then it's attached to me around my hips, okay? And I use my hips to then kind of pull and kind of give you a little bit more joint space to help you get that to move a little bit more free, okay? Then once we get your mobility back, then we do strengthening. Exercise. All right. Next thing, let's do a strength test real quick. And like I said, we're wrapping up on the hips. Let's have you lie on your side. This is where we're probably going to get a lot of, I'm weak. Man, I feel it. Okay, so bottom leg is bent, top leg is straight. Okay? And I want you completely stacked, like your hips are completely stacked. Like don't roll back. A lot of people will roll their hips back. Okay. From here, you're just going to kick your leg up. And I want it straight up. It's not going forward. I see a lot of people are going forward. Don't kick that hip forward, okay? And then back down. Just rep through these. Go through a couple reps here. Okay. All right, good. Any pains in these? Yeah, a little. Okay, don't push through the pain. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around real quick. I want you guys on your good side. Okay, get on your good side. I'm going to come around real quick and I'm going to push on your legs, okay? So we're going to do a strength test real quick, and I want you to push as hard as you can against my hands. If I can beat you, you're weak. All right? You should not beat my arms. Your legs are stronger than mine, okay? So go ahead, lift it up. Okay, right here. Push it down a little bit. Okay, hold it right there. Hold. Up. Okay, hold it there. Hold it. Yeah. Okay. So work on those hips. Okay. Hold it. Pretty good. There you go. Okay. A little weakness, but not bad. A little higher. Oh. Right there. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Okay. And if you have a hip issue and you don't want to do this, just tell me. Okay, please. Okay, hold it. There you go. Pretty good. Awesome. No, roll forward. No, just roll your hips forward. Okay, bring that back a little bit. not too bad. Okay. Pull it back. Just hold it there. Okay. All right. Back a little. Yeah, hold it. There you go. Pretty good. Okay. Do you have pain?
Yes.
Okay. Let's say you. Okay. Forward a little like that. Okay. Hold it. Okay. Pretty good. You're good. Good. Hold it there. All right. Pretty good. Yeah, right. Hold it. Okay. Good. All right. Okay. So, with this, what this is testing is essentially your glute medius, okay? Why do you test that? I would say out of everything here, this is the thing that you want to work on, because if you work on this, you're going to prevent a lot of issues down the road, okay? All the like back stuff we heard, we didn't talk about SI issues, you know, the glute tendinopathies, you know, all this stuff, even the hip flexor stuff, can be fixed if you get these stronger. And I would say, I didn't write it down, but if I were to give a percentage, probably 80% of this room is below where they should be. Okay? So when I am doing this test, most of you guys will like wanting to roll your hip back and then kick it up. Why? Because you want to use your hip flexor. Okay? When you roll to your side all the way, it makes you use the weak muscles that you're avoiding. You're avoiding those muscles. Okay? And then the other compensation would be as you kick up, you're kicking forward. Okay? You're again trying to use your hip flexor instead of your glute medius. So the key is be in a straight line, like you look down your feet, you're not hold forward, not hold back, and then you can do just clamshells or hip abduction like this. That's an exercise you can do. The easier version would, in some ways, easier or harder, would be clams. You've seen that one with the band probably. That one is going to be, this one's going to be a little bit more specific to the glute medius area. Okay. To progress this, you can obviously use bands. It's harder if you use bands at your ankles, a little easier if you put them at your knees. And then the next step would be kind of like a side plank position. And if you want to do this with me, you can. If not, that's cool. So this would be a side plank position, and then even harder there would be an actual side plank going into and stacking. Right? So like that, like a star plank. Okay? Alright. So with these would be 2 or 3 times per week, somewhere between probably to start 8 reps or so. Try to get closer to 10 to 12, and then you're just gonna start with no weight. Everybody here basically no weight, okay? And then you're gonna add bands, okay? So, because if you do bands right away, you're gonna compensate, and you're gonna use your hip flexor, and that's not what you want, okay? All right, let's do shoulders. Okay, cool. So, with shoulders, remind me, who had shoulder issues in here? Can you just do quite a few? Okay. All right. So for this next part, what we're gonna do is we're gonna stand back up. I'm so sorry. You're standing, rolling. Okay. So you're gonna run through a screen again, like I do this with all my clients. Okay. So we're gonna start with this thumbs up. Thumbs up. You're gonna go up, and you're going as high as you can. Again, if it hurts, don't do it, or just go less range of motion, whatever you can tolerate here. I want you to notice what you feel. Do you feel it? Feel any clicking, popping, catching, pain, tightness? Just see what you feel. Yeah, just do a couple reps. Great. Okay? Thumbs to the side now, you guys. So now you're going to do a snow angel. You're trying to go straight up to the side, like you're pushing against the wall, or you're laying on the ground. So you're not going forward, you're keeping your arms straight out. Good. Okay.
It's like pulling in the underside.
Pulling in the under, yeah, and that's what say. I'm seeing that with a couple people here. We're very forward, and usually that's because we're tight under here. We're going to talk about that. Yeah, great. Okay, next one is field goal. Then you're going to come out like that, like you're pulling apart something, right? And then once you do that, I want you to keep how far you can get your arms back. Like that. See if you can get them back like that. Okay, and just keep repping through them. Pretty good mobility, you guys. Not bad. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Mind back. Yeah. And then see how you can get it. See if you have like a difference between these. Any pain with this one? Yes. Here? Okay. Yeah. Okay. 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 All right, you guys. So let's go into this next topic then. So I see pain here. Why do we get pain here with this? Okay. So just like the hip, it's a ball and socket. All right. So the thing about ball and socket joints is essentially as it moves one direction. So like this is your arm bone. If it moves that way, it's got to spin and then slide the opposite way. Okay. So what does that mean? As you lift it up, your shoulder actually has to go like down and back underneath it. So it can spin up. If it doesn't, you can get pinchy. Like that pinchy feeling in the front. If that pinchy feeling in the front is where it basically is just kind of running, the bones are running into one another a little bit, okay? The reason you can get this pain going down the arm, that referral pattern, is because of that impingement. So what we're going to do is test this impingement. If you have painful shoulders, you can sit this one out, or you can just, again, modify, okay? So I'm going to show you this, okay? So first I'm going to start with, and you can do them with me if you like, okay? I'm going to start with hands, thumbs facing. You're going to go up. And you can push it if you like. See how high you can go. You might be able to go like me the whole way. Okay? Now I want you to turn your thumbs up again like you had before. So up towards the ceiling. It might feel a little better. If you turn them out a quarter turn, so it's like pointed out a little bit, at a 45-degree angle, it might feel better, it might not, depending on the person. Okay, now what you're going to do is what we call the closed or the empty can test. So now you're going to take your hands and your thumbs and point them down. Now see how high you can go. Not as high. And it feels like it runs out of room, right? Okay, and relax. Okay, so why is that? When you put your thumbs down like this, what you're doing is you're actually doing internal rotation. Like that movement. And that's why, like in the gym, they might say, like, don't do this. Don't do the like a face pull, upright row. Don't do an upright row. You can do an upright row. Again, that myth has been proven. It's not going to hurt you. Usually, they say that though because you're going into internal rotation, and that can bother people's shoulders. The reason that bothers you is because on that wall, there's a little knuckle, and we call that the greater tubercle. That's the thing that you can like feel in your shoulder, that little bump, like on the end there. So if you put your finger on that bump and you point your thumb out, you feel it move if you're on the right spot, right? So if you turn it in, that ball is digging into the cup, essentially. Okay? So that's why that hurts. That's why that bothers you. So I usually like to relate this to like exercise classes. If you're doing anything and you have shoulder pain with any movement, first try to like turn your thumbs out. So push-ups is a great one. If you're in push-ups and this hurts, then you're gonna try like a neutral grip. So like you're on dumbbells, because why? You're doing that rotation. You could also do it with your thumbs out a little bit if you have the strength to do that. Okay? So rotating. Or if you're lifting overhead, rotate. Rotate your thumbs out a little bit as you lift. That might help with the pinching too. Okay? Alright, let's do, so we did that. Let's do this. I'm trying to see if we have enough room here on the walls. Let's let's try to grab enough space on the walls, you guys. I don't know if we do or not. If not, we can do it on the floor too. So what you're going to do, you're going to face the wall. And we are going to put our hands on the wall. Alright? So once you have your hands on the wall, I want your hands straight. And your feet are back. You're kind of like, you're at like a 45-degree angle facing the wall. Great. Okay. From there, I want you to take your head and stick it between your arms. And all the way down. I want you to stick your butt back. Here, I'll show you. So go ahead and watch me if you like. I'm right there. So you're just sticking your butt back, and I want you to put your head between your arms. There you go. And go as far down as you can go, too. And then come back up, hold it for a second, and then go back down. So this is just, what this is doing is it's actually creating rotation of your shoulder blades. Okay? And just keep doing it up and down. Just do 5 of them for me. So probably a couple more. You might feel stretch in the back. You might feel stretch in your lats, like under the arms. Good. Okay. And you can go back to your mat. All right. So, what did we do there? So when we're doing that, you're basically, instead of doing this, you're making your body move around it. Why is that important? Because when people lift with their shoulders, oftentimes they use their neck, their upper track. So I know some of you said, I have neck pain. And a lot of times people use their neck to lift. So the cue that I would give for that is, instead of thinking lifting up, lift almost either out. So if you're lifting your arms this way, don't lift, go out. So do that for me. Think of the difference between, so just lift your arms up, like go to 90 degrees right here, like you're just flying down here. Now, like swing them out, like push them away, and then come up. It might feel different, right? The reason it feels different is because you're using your shoulder blade, you're not just using your arm bones, and you're not using your neck. It's the same for going in front of you. So this next one that you're going to do is you're going to kind of round your back. You're going to take your hands and imagine you're holding like a pan or like a bowl, okay? And you're going to scoop the water out. So you're scooping it down, and then you're going to round it up, and then stick out your chest as you come up, and then come back down. Okay? So again, you're rounding the upper body, you're scooping it as far out as you can go, and then come up. So I'm just going to, let's see, these hard, no, that's good. Okay, so I'm just going to hand out the bands here, people. Yeah, thank you. Great. So I'm going to show you guys some exercises that I would usually give people. You don't need to do them with the bands, but it's helpful. It's like a cue. Okay. So what you're going to do, you're going to put them on your wrists. Okay? So you might have seen people in the gym, they're doing the rotator cuff, right? They're doing this. You want to pin your elbows, and then you're going to push your forearms apart. Where you want to feel that is you want to feel that kind of like right here. So that's your infraspinatus. It's one of your rotator cuff muscles. We've got 4 rotator cuff muscles. I heard some people say, I have tears, I've had tears. A lot of times people are like, I don't want, let's just go ahead and do some reps here. I've had, I don't want to get surgery. I have this one gentleman that I used to work with, he's now done with me, but in 5 sessions he went from I need surgery, lifting to here, to now lifting completely overhead, doing all lifts in the gym, no problems, bench, everything. he didn't need surgery. He actually had all 4 rotator cuff completely torn, all of them. But so you don't need all of your rotator cuff or really any of it to function without pain. You just need to know how to modify. Okay. Now that's not always true. Again, you always need it. There's some people that might need surgery, but it is avoidable. Okay. So next one that you're going to do your scooping water one again. So you're going to pull it apart. You're going to scoop down, and then you're going to pull it up, and then pull it apart at the top. Yep, and then come back down. A little grunty. And let's just do 5 reps here. So what this is facilitating in PT terms, that means what we're trying to do is we're trying to get upward rotation of the shoulder blades. So a lot of people that come see me, they've gone to see chiropractor, they've seen other PTs, and like they tried different stuff, but they never fixed it. And it's because they missed their shoulder blade. So they weren't looking at that. Okay. All right. Next one is called W's. Okay. These are a little tight for this one, but you can try it. If it's too tight, take it off and just do it without it. Okay. So W's. So this one, what this is doing here is we're trying to take, if this is my shoulder blades here, so our shoulder blades go up, we call that elevation, depression, right? So let's do those together. So up, pull them up, and then let them relax, right? So elevation and depression, yeah. Okay. They also go, squeeze and then forward. So squeeze your back, and then roll them forward like you're rounding, like you're doing cat and cow, essentially, right? So that's protraction, forward, and retraction. They also go, this one's going to be harder to demonstrate, but anterior tilt and posterior tilt. So we're going to do the posterior tilt right now. So this is posterior tilt. So I'll just do it without the hand here. So you're going to take your hands, your elbows do not need to be pinned, and you're just going to open up and squeeze the back and stick out your chest. Okay? Where you should feel it is right here. Right there. Hold it nice, count of 5, and then relax. Okay? And go ahead and do that again. Again, these bands are a little taut for that. You can do it, but you might get a little more rotator cuff. So go ahead and just do 5 of those. And when you do this, you want to feel it down here in the low back because you're trying to get that underside of that shoulder blade to tip underneath that posterior tip. Okay? I know some of you might find that hard to do, and this is a mind-muscle connection thing again. So why is this hard? Well, if we use our neck a lot, we end up we end up in this position, right? Why does that matter? So if I'm in this position, the back is stretched. Okay? So a lot of people that sit at their desk, they think oh, I just need to stretch my back. Right? I just need to stretch it. In reality, you actually need to do the opposite. So again, it's going back to we think we need to, it feels tight, but it's actually not. It's actually overstretched. It needs to shorten. So exercise and strengthening is how to fix it. So now, what we're going to do is you're going to lay on your stomach. We're going to do a set. This is like a nice prehab, if you want to prevent shoulder issues. These are like the 4 or 5 that I would do to help prevent. Okay? So what you're going to start with is we're going to do a T. So thumbs are up again. Your arms are going to be in a straight T, and you're going to lift up your arms as high as you can, but you got to make sure that your arms do not go back. That's the common thing. Yeah, keep it in a line. So bring them back a little bit. That one, there you go. See if you can bring this one up like that, if possible. And then down, hold it 2-3 seconds, you guys, and then bring it back down. Thumbs up towards the ceiling, too. So you use your rear delt. Head down as well. I didn't give you that cue, but if you lift your head up, what you're actually doing is using your head to lift instead of your arms. You need to keep your head down. Okay, next, you're going to go into a Y. So make your hands out in front of you into a Y position. Again, thumbs up. Yep. And go ahead and lift. So head down with this one as well. Don't lift your head. It might not feel like a lot of range. And you're trying to squeeze underneath your shoulder blades. So not in the middle, but underneath them. So you should almost feel like you're arching your back. That's what it should feel like. And as you can see, this is hard, right? You don't even have weight. So if you're doing this, you don't need weight. You just start with no weight, and you're going to do a set of 8 to 12, 2 sets, 3 times per week. All right, next one, W's. Take a break if you need it. So elbows are bent, and you're going to keep your head down again and lift your arms up as far back as you can go. Keep your head down. There you go. Those are good. Good. Yeah, you guys are doing really good. I don't have to get a lot of cues. The only cue I'd say is try to keep your forearms as parallel to the floor as you can with this. You're holding it again, 2-3 seconds, and then down. You want to feel this one mostly in between your shoulder blades. Right in the middle. Good, one more, you guys. Good job. All right, now you're going to put your hands at your sides, like behind you. And you're going to go thumb facing the floor on this one, and you're going to go back. So back. We call this, if you're right next to your body, it's an I. So back. If you go a little bit out, like away from your hips, that's an A. Okay? So these are posterior tilt exercises. So you're, again, working on that, tucking the shoulder blades underneath. This one you should feel under your shoulder blades. Kind of in the back, like almost upper, low back.
Are you trying to like outwardly rotate the heads of the shoulders first and then look?
Great question. So what you want to do is you want to feel it in the back first, then lift your arms, then squeeze back. So back, and that's the same sequence for if you're doing anything in the gym, like you're doing a row. You're gonna squeeze back, pull arms, squeeze back. It's always that sequence. Okay? Alright. Relax on that one. Okay? Stay prone, stay in your stomach. Okay. Now you're gonna do swimmers. Okay? So now you just did the strengthening. Now you're gonna do strengthening and mobility. So we're gonna start with the easier option and then go into the harder option. So you're on your stomach, arms are out in front of you. You're gonna tuck your arms close to your body and then come through and then just repeat it, go back straight up. So you're just staying close to your body right now. Okay, so just start on the floor, just slide it on the floor right now. That's the easiest option. If you want a little more challenge, keep your arms off of the floor. So it's floating the whole time, right? And it's at eye level. Again, I love that you guys are looking down. That's great. Try not to look up because you're going to use your neck. Okay. Now you're going to make it harder. So now you're going to come through towards your hips, but now you're going to come around the top, like out. Right? So you're coming close to your hips and then coming around. Good. Nice job, you guys. Great. He's hard? So these are the little muscles, and everybody hyper focuses on rotator cuff. This is working rotator cuff as well. Right, so you gotta work your lung trap. So the reason, you guys can sit up now, and then we'll probably ask questions because we're at the time, okay? So I just wanted to address tight lats. So when some of you guys did this stuff, you were feeling it under here, okay? This is another area where that gets very tight for people. So you can stretch this a million ways. That you can use the bar, you can use a wall. You know, you can do it like that. You can kind of stretch it like so. You can actually cross your leg and stretch it like that. This will actually get your hip as well. You can do it sitting, right? That's going to help get the lat. You can also attach a band to something and hold the band and do it that way. There's a million different ways to do the lat stretch. Again though, just like the hip flexor, so hip flexor, IT band, lat, upper trap actually, in that one too. Those are very stubborn. Like if you try to stretch them, you're not gonna get anywhere. You gotta like actually strengthen it so that it will relax. And the reason it relaxes is because your brain is telling it to turn off. So you gotta use the other muscles, like your back muscles, so that this can relax, and then your range of motion will improve. Just like when you were doing the stuff with your legs. Okay? Alright. Okay, so it looks like that's about time. I'd like to get a picture with everybody. So I don't know where we want to do that. Maybe, I don't know.
We can go
Here?
right here.
Right here? Okay. Alright, cool. So we'll do that, and then I will stick around for individual questions. And then I also have a little offer if you guys are interested as well. Okay? Alright.